CenterPoint allows you to do ACH payments to your vendors. The process creates an electronic file that transfers funds from your bank account directly to your vendor's bank account. There are several setup steps that have to be done first. We'll have to set up some bank information on your checking account. The vendor that you're paying with the ACH option will also need some bank information assigned. And then in the payments, there'll be an option to do ACH, and we'll have a video to show you how to do that, as well as a video of creating the ACH file that you'll be sending to your bank. Let's begin by going to our bank and set up the information for the ACH. So we're going to go to Setup, Accounts, and then Accounts. Expand Assets and Cash and highlight our bank account that we're using in our payment. You'll first want to go to the Detail tab, and for each company that you have, make sure that you have filled in your bank routing number, which is a 9-digit number, and the bank account number. And after you fill that in, then you want to go to the ACH Direct Deposit tab. Most of the information that you fill in this tab, you'll want to check with your bank because they might have specific requirements for their ACH files. The different formats that you can select from are NACHA, which is National Automated Clearinghouse Association, and it uses 94 characters long with 10 records per 940 character block. The other option is ASCII, and it has 94 characters also with a carriage return at the end of each record, and it's used by many mainframe computer systems. The NACHA modified is like the NACHA, except that it also has an additional carriage return. So your bank will tell you which format that they need. The immediate origin has options of using your bank routing number, your federal EIN number, or a custom number. And if you use custom number, this custom field will be open to enter that number. And that's a field on the ACH file. The pre-draft number is typically 1, but if your bank wants a different number, you can enter that as well as the modifier. The reference code is a file control record. It's optional. Your bank might want something in there just for their purposes, like ACH. And discretionary data is another field that's optional and might be used for something like end of month payment or something like that. The checkbox for creating offset debit, you'll want to leave that checked unless your bank tells you that they don't want the offsetting debits included in that file. And then up in the upper right, we'll select the folder that we want to save this to. This particular tab is used for both payroll direct deposits, if you're using payroll, and ACH. So you may, if you have both payroll and you're doing some ACH payments, you may want a folder separate for the two. So you can click the little browse button and actually create a folder or select one if you already have one. But we're going to create a new folder and just call it ACH payments. Click OK. And that will make our, whoops, didn't find my folder that I made. Let's go find it. ACH payments. There we go. Now it will save to that folder, and now you can indicate what you want for the prefix of the file that it creates. In here is ACH, and then it will append today's date and also the file number on the end, and it would increment that number if you have more than one ACH file done in the same day. On the different vendor social security number, you have the option to suppress the first 5 digits, include the whole number, suppress the whole thing, or include the whole number but not formatted with a hyphen. If the bank indicates they want something in the header text, you can check that box and enter that information as well as the trailer text in the footer. And then the description field is what you'll see on your bank statement. So when you see this ACH payment come and on the bank to reconcile, if you want something on there to indicate what that is, then you would enter that description. And then the batch number, you can start at 1 and it will increment this on each batch. Down at the bottom is where you're going to indicate your routing number and account number again. If this information is left blank, it will use what you did on the detail, but you'll put in your bank name and your bank's routing number and account number. If your bank additionally uses a Federal Reserve Bank and that's a different routing number, then you would enter that information over at the left. The Cache third party will not be used for ACH. That is getting used by payroll, but it will not be used for ACH payments. And once in a while, there are certain situations where a bank needs something different other than what we address at the top of the screen. And if they are having problems with something with the file not going through, you can click this advanced checkbox over here and then click load defaults. That's going to list all of the different record fields in that file. And then your bank will indicate what field has an issue, and then you can go ahead and make those changes. And when you make those changes, then you can click save, and that will save that into the record. But if the file goes through, then you don't usually need the advanced settings, and you'll just save that file. After you have this setup done for your bank, any of the vendors that you're making an ACH payment to will have to have the information filled in for them. If you go up to setup and names, or if you have advanced AR, you'll have vendors on your list, either place you can go to. And you're going to want to edit a name, so we're going to go up and edit a name here. And on this name there'll be a tab for ACH payments. And if you're going to do an ACH payment with this vendor, check the box to activate it. Pick the standard entry class, and we have another video of names and ACH payment tab to indicate what all these different fields represent and the different kind of transaction code. But typically it's going to be checking account credit, unless you're doing it for the first time, and then you're going to be doing a pre-note to check out the numbers. And you'll put in your vendor's bank routing number and the bank account number. And you can save that. If you're going to be also emailing them an advice when you pay them, then you can go to the email tab. Let's go ahead. Oh, I didn't put a routing number in there and I had checked active. Let's put one in there. And now save, and I'm going to go back and go to the email tab, and this is where you'll put their email address if you're going to be sending them something. So you can put whatever their particular email is. And then over under checks advices is where you would select to send to. So when I later do my ACH file and create the file, then it will have the option to send an email to my vendor to indicate that that vendor has been paid. And this would be the email information it would send at that point. And then you would save that. And that is the setup for the banking information on the both the employee or the payer side and the payee side. And the next step is we will be going to a payment and using the ACH option in a payment.